Welcome to Kim Talks Resilience, where I'm talking with women around the world doing crazy cool things. These women are entrepreneurs, they're coaches, speakers, authors, but I can promise you one thing, that the gal I have today is unlike any other woman you've heard from on Kim Talks Resilience. Now, before we get started, I want everybody to write this down. I want you to check out my store online called queenofresilience.shop. Queenofresilience.shop. I've got some cool stuff in there. Not as cool as some of the things that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to be very frank here. Like, this gal is cool as I've actually been vibrating, super excited about having her here. And this is being brought to you live from the outback of Florida. So you guys are in for a true treat today. Amy is a professional python hunter. I've always wanted to say that, folks. Professional python hunter. She's contracted by the South Florida Water Management District to capture and euthanize the invasive Burmese pythons that are now the apex predator in South Florida and is decimating the mammal and bird population. Amy's fascination with snakes started when her dad took her to a creek as a kid and taught her how to catch all kinds of critters. She caught her first snake that day and has been passionate about it ever since. Now, in 2019, Amy learned that the python problem in Florida, she learned all about it and she took a vacation. Because wouldn't we all do this? Take a vacation to go and hunt. And she actually caught her first python in Florida there. And she was hooked. She was hooked, folks. In less than 2 months, she dropped her successful 13-year successful career in real estate and moved to Florida and became a python hunter. Because Amy is not afraid of pythons and she has years of experience with them, she figured, this was a great opportunity to use her passion and to actually make a difference in the world. Amy loves snakes and hates that they have to be killed, but there is no other way. She has made it her mission to figure out how to use as much of the python as possible. Her pythons are skinned, professionally tanned, and then made into the only Apple Watch bands in the world that are made of invasive python skin. If they can't be a part of nature, at least their existence can be honored. Amy has caught over 400 pythons, won second place in, I probably am not going to be qualifying for this one anytime soon. She won second place in the 2019 Python Bowl and has been featured on the news, podcasts, magazine articles, and documentaries. Her biggest python was 17 feet 3 inches, 110 pounds. And she did it on her own, folks. Who says girls can't do anything they want to do? Amy donates python hunts in auctions and raises money for charities. And to date, she has raised nearly $300,000 for charity, folks. I am super excited. I hope everybody is excited as I am because I'm stoked. Like, welcome. Oh, and like I said, she is literally down there right now looking for a snake. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here live from the Everglades.
Yeah, you know what? Better you than me because I have a bit of a fear around snakes. I've seen
like
a few.
most people, you're normal.
I'm normal. I think it's humorous that you went from real estate to wrangling snakes. But we'll get into that in a moment. We know that your dad got you engaged and excited about hunting critters and checking them out. And let's talk a little bit about who you are. Tell me a little bit about who you are growing up. Where do you rank within siblings, if you have any? What's your dad think of all this? Give me a little bit of who is Amy?
I'm just a girl who loves snakes, and I'm living my dream in sunny Southwest Florida. So I'm literally the same as I was when I was little. I love being out in nature. I love catching snakes. I love, the critters. I love all of it. And now I get to do it as a job. I'm out here. And that's why, again, I need to qualify this a little bit. sitting here in this truck because I've got my headlamp faced onto me because it's so dark in this truck. And I wasn't planning on being in this truck tonight. I was planning to be at my house, but we got a call about a snake, so I had to come out here, and it's a whole thing. But anyway, so just in case you're wondering why I have this weird spotlight on half of my face, I can't get it right.
Actually, I thought it was for the special effects for the rest of us who are afraid of snakes. I thought we were adding some mood to this. But keep going. Tell me about
we'll go with that.
Your dad. We'll go with that. This is a special effect, folks. Okay. So, for those of you who are listening, go over to YouTube. You got to see this. This is awesome. So, Amy, your dad takes you out. This is not normal, is it, for dads to take their daughters out hunting critters?
Like, I don't know. It's normal to me. You know, I guess if I was a boy, he'd probably take me out and, you know, do the same thing. So since I wasn't a boy, I still enjoy it.
No, it's awesome. You are the first woman I have met personally that is like just dad. You leaned right into it from childhood.
I did.
Most of us were in the water moccasins are very popular in Kansas, and we would run screaming when we saw one at Girl Scout camp. So, I mean, you should have been my bunkmate. I would have felt much safer. I was like,
you would have. I would have handled all the snakes for you.
You're probably also a great wingman at the bars. Just saying, ladies. That was so. It's 7:00 at night. I'm going to have a little fun with this. Okay, so let's dive in. So, obviously, a little bit of a daddy's girl. He did a good job. It sounds like.
Yes, he did.
Where are you originally from?
I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and I have 2 younger sisters. So I'm the oldest of three girls.
Okay.
So, yep. I'm from Dayton.
So,
I went to University of Toledo, graduated from there, and I went to Indianapolis. I moved to Indiana. And I was in Indiana for, oh my gosh, 20 years, I think. And then, you know, I did the real job thing. I had a 9-to-5 after I graduated. You know, then I got into real estate. I got into real estate in 2006. Smart move, right? I mean, right as the market was seriously tanking. But hey, I got it figured out. So
your degree, was your degree in business, or because I mean you've taken a passion, you've turned it into a business, a profit, which is, you know, I don't know if a lot of people would think of doing what you're doing. So what was your degree and what prepared you for the business side of the python hunting?
Well, I mean, my degree was in communications. I didn't really know what the heck I wanted to do.
Oh,
you know.
So snakes don't talk much.
Yeah, no.
It's all in the body language, folks. It's all in the body language.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
So it was interesting because people always ask me, like, "Hey, why aren't you a biologist or zoologist?" And the funny thing is, in college, I volunteered at the Toledo Zoo in the herpetology department, which is the snake and reptile amphibian department. And all those people in that department, all they did was sit and do research and look in their microscopes, and they didn't talk to anyone. They didn't go out and do anything. It was the most boring thing in the world to me. And so at that moment, and that was my freshman year in college, I think, in that moment, I knew I do not want to be an ologist anything, because I want to be out there. I need to be in the action. You know, I don't want to be sitting over a microscope all day. So that was actually a good learning place for me. And then as far as, you know, how, we'll just keep going. I'll go into that later.
Okay. So walk us through a job of hunting pythons. What is it you do? And then we're going to go into what you have created from, because that's what really caught my ear about what you're doing, is that I love it when people can do one thing and yet there's multiple things that come out of that. Most people are a one and done. I do this. Whereas you've got layers, and I love the fact that you've got so many layers to what you're doing, even with the charity aspect. So talk to us about, first of all, how many girls are actually out there hunting snakes in
Now
Florida?
there's 15 of us. 15 out of 100.
15.
There's 100 contracted state contracted python hunters, and 15 of us are women.
And what does it pay? Like I'm just like, this is, I've never seen a job posting for python hunting. So I mean, do you get paid per snake, or is it an annual thing, or like what does this look like as a career? Because I know
Well,
what you
I
get
will
in
tell
real
you,
estate.
yeah, Kim, I'll tell you this. Snakes don't pay like houses.
No.
That is for sure. So I get paid by the hour for gas. I mean, it's like, I think $13 an hour or something silly. And then I get paid per snake also. So I get $50 for the first 4 feet of snake, and then I get $25 a foot after that. So nobody's getting rich catching pythons.
No. So it's like, so the $13 an hour to go somewhere, that basically covers literally where gas is sitting at these days.
Right.
So you're not, so okay, so then that leads us into, so you're out there, and how many snakes are you typically catching in or dealing with in a week or 2 weeks or a month?
I mean, it really depends on the time. And so we're in the summer, we're kind of at the tail end of summer right now. Our summer ends basically at the end of October here. And this is the most active season. But still, we don't catch every night. I mean, last night I didn't catch, I caught the night before. But, you never know. The best days that I've had, I caught 9 in one day before, which
Wow.
was amazing. And then there have been plenty of times, I mean, that you don't catch anything. So it's kind of, I don't want to say tedious, because it's not that, but it's about 12 hours. The rule of thumb is 12 hours of hunting for one python. So that kind of explains it right there.
Wow. Wow. So in doing this, obviously you've still got to actually make a living. And and it's not cheap to live in Florida.
That is
So
correct.
walk me through how you determined to come up with the only Apple Watch band made by invasive pythons skin. So walk me through that whole process of when you were doing this. I mean, did you start out hunting snakes with this intention, or was this something that came about? You're going, you know what? Wait a minute.
So yeah,
So
I didn't start it out with this intention. I came down here, Kim, literally, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know if the district was even hiring or going to ever hire again, because it was a pilot program. I didn't have a place to, I mean, I rented a room from some guy in Miami. So I didn't know anything. And I just had to figure out how to become a python hunter. So I do that, right? I get hired on with the state in July of 2019. I moved there in March, got hired in July. And as I'm doing this, the thing that I hated about it, because I love snakes, and, like I said, I hate that we have to kill them. If there was another way, I would be all about that. But unfortunately, there isn't. But, I also hunt deer up in Indiana, and, I eat for food. And the thought of wasting the snake, it just made me sick. I just, how can we just throw these things away? We have to be able to use them somehow. And I knew that some of the people were using the skins, but I didn't know if it was worth it, if it was profitable, if there was a market for it. So I basically just, I did what I did in real estate. I just start cold calling people. Hey, what about this? Is there a need for this? Who do you know that I need to talk to? That whole thing. And then I actually got hooked up with a woman who does handbags. And so she said, yes, I need these skins. Can you handle that for me? And I said, oh yeah, sure. Well, let me tell you, had no idea what I was getting into, because there are not many people that, well, first of all, pythons are new here, right? So it's not like there's even a market for it. But there's also, as far as tanning, there's only 3 tanners in the US that tan python, because it's illegal to bring them in from Europe now. So they did this all 40 years ago, and they haven't done it since. So these alligator tanners are basically kind of doing me a favor by tanning these skins, right? So, but I didn't know that I had to have them tanned a certain way. And I also didn't know that I was going to have to skin them. So I have to learn how to skin them. So that's what I do on my lanai. I have to figure out, I have to get 100 before I can take them to the tanner. So I have to figure out how to get 100 of them and come up with the money to do that. And then once I had the skins, I did sell some of them to that woman, and we don't really work together anymore. But that launched me into, okay, what products can I make? Because I didn't want to just do the wallet and the belt and blah, 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 like everybody has, because that's super boring. So I thought Apple Watch Band, and I Googled it, and there was not an actual snake skin, like authentic snake skin watch band, and especially not an invasive python watch band. So I said, I wonder if this is something that I could do. And I also liked the idea of it because even though we had this gigantic problem down here, and there's between 100,000 and 300,000 pythons, they're still, they're hard to find. And so I wanted a product that doesn't use a lot of skin, so I could profit more per skin, right? So then I worked with a manufacturer out of Tampa, and they're a private label. So we worked together and came up with a design and all of that for this watch band, and then they produced it for me. So that is how it all happened.
And how durable is it? Like, out of curiosity.
It's very durable. It's a very well made watch band. It's got and you know what? I was going to have it to show you, but it's not in the swamp right now. Anyway, so it's stainless steel butterfly clasp. So it's adjustable, but it's yeah, that's my bourbon brown.
But the skin itself is
so the skin is more sensitive than cow leather. It's so it's not as durable as that, but this is leather backed with nubuck taupe. I can't remember, but anyways, so you just don't want to get it wet, like wearing it in the sun, things like that. You just want to take care of it, but other than that, it's fine. Yeah, and that's a little
you're tanning them different colors too. So those of you who are just listening in, you've got like all sorts of colors then, eh?
Yeah, I do. I love that you just said A.
20 years in 30 years, almost 30 years in Canada. You pick up a few things. Yeah, you pick up a few things. So you go, so these are all 100% American made then?
Yes, they are actually 100% Florida made. Caught in Florida, tanned in Florida, and made in Florida.
Wow, very cool. And that's ingenuity. That's they say, what is it? What is that saying? I just lost it. Apologize, folks. The mother of invention, right?
Oh,
necessity.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
necessity
about.
is the mother of invention. And literally, this is like people don't want their dog to get eaten. I guess these snakes will come right up and eat your pet. Is that
a 14-foot python can easily eat a full-grown golden retriever.
Oh my God. See, and I'm thinking of the little barky ones that nobody, everybody, sorry guys, if you got a little barky dog, I'm not trying to wish a python upon it, but I was thinking, the little ones, right? But
don't get me wrong, I've wished it a few times in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
But anyways, go
ahead. But we're talking real dogs. These things can eat real dogs. So, and are they a danger to, like, are people endangered also by these things? Like, do they come at people?
We are not on the menu. So even a little kid, they're not going to come after people, because the 17-footer that I caught, if I had my skull, I'd show you, but she could easily put my head in her mouth and swallow me right down if she wanted to. So, but we're not, they don't even really know what we are. So if I'm out and I'm catching these pythons and we see one on the levee, not on the roads, but like if it's on the levee, you can really walk right up to it. And it's kind of like, what are you doing? Why are you standing over me? And then when you grab it, of course it starts freaking out then. But, so they don't look at us as anything, really.
I watched a couple of your videos and I'm going, she just literally grabbed that snake's head. Crazy.
That's
Crazy.
how we do it.
Meanwhile, I'm running the other way, and I don't run, folks. If you see me running, I guarantee you there's something really scary behind me. so, so we know what you do. We have a bit of the backstory, and we, should all send Amy's dad a big thank you because
Love you, Dad.
the Everglades are getting safer one snake at a time at Amy's hands. Where do you see this going? Because we met through a publicity program that was like matching up. And first of all, before we go into where you think this is going, I would love for you to share the story of why you're on the like the way that you introduced yourself to me about the taking the truck through the car wash. Can you share
Oh,
that story? That story is hilarious. And I can't even tell you how many people I have shared that story with because all I do is envision the poor little car wash guy's face. Yeah. So share with
okay.
us a day in Amy.
Okay. Well, I will tell you this story. So this was a 14-foot python that I caught, and I have learned a lot through trial and error as far as when you have to skin them and all this other stuff. So when we have a big snake like that, we truck skin it. So I literally put the head in a rope, pull the skin back, and we just like pull it apart, right? Now, the problem is with these big, huge snakes, I mean, they are bloody. And this one was beyond bloody. I had blood literally I had it on like across my legs. I had it splattered on my face. I was in flip flops for some reason. And I mean, it looked like I stepped in puddles of blood. So I'm covered in blood. I'm trying to hurry up and get this thing skinned because it is, it's kind of getting dark. And so I look in the back of my truck and I'm like, oh my God. So I've got coolers, with the snake parts in it, and those are covered in blood. And I was like, man, I cannot park this truck at my condo because, my neighbors are going to freak out. It's going to smell like crap, and flies are going to be everywhere. So I'll probably get kicked out. And so I thought, oh my gosh, okay, so I've got to take this truck to the car wash. Well, it was 8:30. It takes me 20 minutes to get to the car wash. So I'm like, I just peel out and because I skin them in the front in this big field that's in the front of my condo, like in the entrance. So a lot of people can see it, but at least it's not near the buildings. But anyway, so I take off, I get halfway there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have any money. I don't have my purse or my wallet because I wasn't planning to do this. I just was driving the truck up into the grass. So I thought, well, I'm just going to have to go and talk somebody into giving me a free car wash, and hopefully they will. And so I get there, and it's like 5 minutes before they're closing, and there's this kid, and he's like, and he just kind of looks at me. So I jump out of the truck, and mind you, I am covered in blood. And I said, hey, I don't have any money, but can you give me a free car wash? And he's looking at me like, okay. And I said, but I've got coolers back here, and I really need to get all the blood out of the back. I mean, will the car wash do that? And he said, well, no, it's not really going to get all the blood out of there. And he's like, just looking at me like, should I be running? Should I be calling the cops? What should I be doing right now? And so I said, well, do you have a hose or anything? He said, yeah. I said, listen, I'm a python hunter, so it's cool. But I'm pretty sure he didn't believe me. So I get in the back of the truck, and I'm hosing this thing out. It's totally dark. I can't see anything. But I mean, the blood had just been pouring out all over their parking lot. And so I get it all cleaned up, and it's still all over me. I'm like, I appreciate this so much. And he's like, yeah, okay, bye. And he's like, kind of like backing up. So basically, he would not have asked any questions. I could literally get away with murder if I wanted to. Because he didn't, I mean, I was covered in blood. I had coolers full of stuff with blood all over it. It could have been a body. He doesn't know. But at least I got it all cleaned up.
Folks, how to get away with getting free car washes. Amy's going to
You
have
brought it.
that out. That's her next book. Is how to get free shit due to python blood. Um,
Yes,
so
yes.
So where do you see this going for you? Okay, so python, invasive pythons, how long do you think there's any way of getting a handle on this, or is this going to be a long-term issue for Florida? Do they
So let
breed
me,
really easy or
yeah, so let me back up really fast and remind me your question after I explain this, because I think that people need to know that the pythons are invasive. They're not supposed to be here. They are the apex predator, so they don't have any predators. We are the only predators. And they have eaten 98% of the mammals in parts of the Everglades, which is a big deal. So they are literally in the process of changing the entire ecosystem. So we have to get rid of them. We absolutely have to. And there's an estimated 100 to 300,000 of them in the Everglades. And the thing is about, oh, my light just went out. Oh my gosh. Can you get the other? Oh my gosh. And we're live. This is the worst.
Sorry.
this is hilarious. Keep going. Keep going. There we
wait.
go.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Gotta love Dave. Okay. So they are so cryptic. They are so camouflaged and hard to find that, and their area is about 7 million acres, and most of it is inaccessible to humans. We just can't get there. We have to be on roads. And if I daylight outside, I'd show you where I am. I'm in the middle of the Everglades on this like gravel levee right now. So it's very, very difficult to find them. And the average amount of eggs that the female lays per year is 20 to 40. But the big girls can lay over 100. So that's a lot of snakes. So let's just say there's 100,000 out there, right? Well, and if you do all the math, which I won't go through, but that's a lot. If this puts it in perspective, since this program started in 2017, we've only caught 15,000 over 5 years. Basically, we've caught 15,000, and there are hundreds of thousands out there. So this is this a losing battle? I don't know. You asked about, what the future is for me. Well, this is my foreseeable future. Python hunting, absolutely. Making products out of them and selling them just because so we don't waste them, but also to supplement my income, 100% going to be happening for a while. So, I don't know what's going to happen. Every time there's a fish or a mammal or anything, an animal that isn't regulated, it always ends up almost extinct. So then they have to put laws in place. So so maybe that will happen in 20 years from now. Maybe I'll say, hey, man, we'll never eradicate them. Let me just make that clear. They're always going to be in Florida, but if we can get their numbers down, that would be very, very encouraging.
It's like the boars in Texas. Like it's interesting, and I what's happening in the United States. We're seeing so much, and then what was it? The flying fish that came up through. Yeah,
The Asian flying carp.
Yeah. So there's so many things. So I mean, we all go government's bad, so forth and so on. But the reality is the government's just trying to keep things that don't belong here out.
Yep.
And then you got called on an anaconda, which I just learned is not a python, and it's not a 1980s song, although there's a great 80s song. So,
except it's been stuck in my head since I got the call.
I know. You ain't got none. Okay, sorry.
I know.
Oh, I know. As soon as you said it, that's the song that came. So,
Yep.
What is the difference between an anaconda and a python?
So an anaconda it's still a very big constrictor, but it's in the boa family. The anacondas are actually from South America. The Burmese pythons are from Southeast Asia. And the anacondas mainly, they spend a lot of time in the water. So it's very, very difficult to spot them. They are the heaviest snake in the world. So they can get to be, and I don't know for sure, but reports of 400 pounds. I mean, that's a huge snake, because the snake that was just caught in Florida, the Burmese python, that is the heaviest that we've ever caught, was 215 pounds. So that's twice the size. you know, and that's a big deal. So if we can, if there's a report of that, you know, and they sent the picture and, you know, the whole thing, so it's legit. And so I had to go out and just see if I could find it. I mean, the chances of it being there aren't that great, you know, because it took me an hour and a half to get here and the whole thing, but that's a big deal. You know, that's a big deal if we do have more anacondas. I don't think that we have a problem. I think that's probably an escaped pet or, you know, something like that. But I guess I'll come back tomorrow and try again.
And that brings into perspective when we talk to people who have these illegal pets. It's not just illegal for the purpose of you can or cannot have something. It's so if you're such a knob and it gets out, right? Like I'm not trying to belittle people who support illegal animal trading. But the reality is, if it gets out, it can cause further issues. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we have over 500 invasive species in Florida. It's insane. I mean, between the animals, plants, insects, snails, I mean, we have all kinds of things. And somebody asked me once, they said, "Hey, what's it like to be in South Florida?" And I said, "Go to a pet store. Everything in that pet store is literally now in Florida." I mean, even the African cichlids, they're fish. I used to sell those at the pet store growing up. And I was at a freshwater like pond or something, and I'm like, wait, that's a cichlid. What the heck is that thing doing in here? Well, they're everywhere, in Oscars, and you know, it's crazy.
you know what Florida needs?
What?
Winter. Lots of winter.
No. I do not miss winter. I do not miss snow. Dave and I were just talking today. He's like, "So are you gonna go back home for the holidays?" I was like, I just want them to come here because it's so much warmer. But you're right. I mean, that would handle the situation.
You know, I mean, as the world becomes more mobile, we're going to see more and more issues. And it's how we move forward. And I think, you know, yourself saying, you know, honoring this species, but also having to deal with it because it doesn't have a place within the ecosystem there. So typically,
let me give you another. Oh, let me give you a real fast. So people ask me a lot of times, you know, why is it a problem with the mammals here, and it is a problem in Southeast Asia where they're from? Well, Southeast Asia has king cobras, and king cobras only eat other snakes, and king cobras get to be like 16 feet long or something crazy. So pythons are the perfect meal for them. So that's why these pythons lay so many eggs, have so many babies, because their population is kept in check by these cobras. They don't have anything keeping them in check here. So that is, now I'm not saying that we need to let cobras go in Florida. That's the last thing that you know, Florida needs. But that's kind of, you know, that's why there's such a problem here, because they've got that predator. They were made for Southeast Asia.
What about alligators? Like, out of curiosity, that's because is it gators that are indigenous, or is it crocodiles?
No, well, we actually have both, but we have a lot more gators.
Okay, so but how are they handling the invasion of these pythons? Are the pythons going after baby gators? Like, what's going on there?
Yes. And oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Sorry, the lighting is we have to keep batteries and all. So the pythons will eat the gators, and pythons have eaten bigger gators, you know, like 6-7 feet. And the gators, though, sweet python, just depends on size. But the gators don't eat enough pythons to make a difference. And really, the pythons don't eat enough gators to make a difference on their numbers either. It's just like the wild boar. We have a lot of wild boar down here.
Yep.
The hogs will eat snakes. The snakes will eat the hogs, but neither one of them eat enough of each other to make a difference.
Interesting. So basically, we always joke that down in Australia, you got like 6 layers of potential death before you can actually swim in the ocean, right? There's the jellyfish that will kill you, the shark
Yeah.
will kill you, the spiders will kill you. Is Florida heading that way? Is Florida heading that way? Is it starting to become kind of the Aussie land, like where we need a Steve Irwin to help us get to free range water?
You know, maybe. I don't know. Australia is a very different. Okay, you know what? I don't know enough about it to sound intelligent about it, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of arid areas there and there's a lot of different species there, but you never know. I came down here, Kim, and I was like, I'm going to need a 50 cal. I'm going to need this whole artillery because of the bears and the gators and the panthers and, all of this. And I get here and none of it wants anything to do with you, so it's just, but I will tell you this. I will jump on a 17-foot snake, 20-foot snake, anaconda all day long. The scariest thing that I did, so we have to go to these islands in the winter and to find these snakes. In this canal, the boat's tied up, my little 12-foot John boat, it starts floating away. I see it last minute. I'm like, oh my God. So I have to go swim in the canal after it. Now, this canal loaded with gators. I'm telling you, I was nervous and I did not think I'd be that nervous. And I'm swimming like I'm going to get eaten. And it wasn't really just that there were so many gators. It was that if there was a bull that was going to be territorial, that's what I was, a little worried about.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to be careful. There could be bull sharks in there too, everything here does want to eat you already. So if we get anything else, I mean, who even knows?
Like I said, folks, I've been so excited about because this is like so out of my comfort zone, and I just find it so fascinating. Now, I'm sure you practice resiliency on a regular basis, but can you share time that without that true resiliency, we would not be having this conversation?
Yes, I can. Actually, this goes back to real estate. And give me a second to get through this because it'll make sense. In 2006, like I said, is when I started. Well, I ended up getting divorced in 2007, and your first year of real estate, you don't make much. And so I'm living in this guy's attic. I know it was just. I was working 3 jobs. It was really tough, but I loved real estate and I really wanted to stay in it. And so I would get to a point and I'd be like, man, maybe I just need to give this up and get, a regular 9 to 5. And then something would happen. I'd be employee of the month or get the, saleswoman of the month. And then, a few more months would go by and I'd be like, and then I get, sell the biggest house that I've sold, the most expensive house. So all of these things like just kept me like, just stay with it. Just keep going. There's a reason for this. And so then in I think 2013, 2011, I can't remember, I got with Keller Williams. And Keller Williams taught me, this is seriously not a plug for them, but they taught me how to run a business and not just how to sell real estate. They taught me how to work on me. They taught me so many things that if I wouldn't have had all of those things, I would never make it down here because I just not knowing anything, I wouldn't have known where to start. I wouldn't have known any of this. So the resilience came from those years of, those first few years of just, bad real estate, lots of struggle to getting to the company that was going to help shape my future, basically. So that's my story.
And real estate really can be a make or break for a lot of people. And that they say Gary Keller's book, The Red Bible of Real Estate, right?
Oh yeah.
Millionaire Agent. That
Yeah.
is, and that's actually touted by nearly any broker out there, no matter which brokerage you're at. So
Yep.
definitely a part for that. So books. What's a book, a business book that you would recommend, or what are you reading?
I have so many of them, but my all-time favorite is Success Principles by Jack Canfield. 100%. I love him. We went to, oh, actually, do I have time to tell another quick story about this?
Sure.
Okay. So Dave and I went to the Breakthrough to Success. I think it was now like 6 or 7 years ago in Arizona, based on the success principles and all of that. It was the most amazing thing. Well, the cool thing about this was that you get to do the Come As You Are party at the very last day. And what they want you to do is figure out who you want to be in 5 years. Whatever that is, you go to this cocktail party as that person. So say you wanted to be an author, you would like bring a book and like have made your own cover on it. And you're talking to people all night long. Hey, I just sold, 1 billion copies of my book. This is what I do. I'm doing the speaking engagement. So you literally come as you would be in 5 years. And so I was obviously in real estate then, and I was getting into the expansion teams, and I wanted to have, this big, team. But so I went to the Come As You Are party. I wore a nice top, and then I wore shorts and my hiking boots. And I was telling people that I had just got done with the conference with all of my expansion teams, and I was getting ready to fly to South America to go catch anacondas. Literally, that's what I was. And Kim, 5 years later, I am in Florida catching pythons. It wasn't even a thing then. I didn't know anything. Like, what? It's crazy. Crazy. So yeah, Jack Canfield, 100% all day long.
Jack Canfield also does, has some incredible stuff around vision boarding. So obviously that vision of the Come As You Are was a prelude to who you are, which is very cool. Where can people follow you? Because folks, this is a gal that we want to follow. Make sure you check out her YouTube channel. But where can people follow you?
Yes, my website is pythonhuntress.com, and I post a lot of pictures, a lot of video. All my products are on there, and I'm getting ready to launch some more products, so they will be coming out soon. On Instagram, I'm Python Huntress Amy. On YouTube, I think I'm still Amy Seaweed. But so any of those places, please, Facebook, of course, you can follow me there too. So anywhere. I will tell you that Instagram is probably the best place to get the most up-to-date, quickest hunts, all my stories that I put up there and everything.
Have you started TikTok yet? Like, are you singing with the snakes? Can you sing with the snakes? Can you imagine if you had my anaconda? You got to start doing it. Be out there with the snakes, and you can have the anaconda song. Come on. I think you just found a killer TikTok channel.
All right.
Folks. I think we've nailed it.
I have to. I've been putting it off because, God, it's another thing that I have to do, and I don't know how to do it, right? But that might have to happen.
That's gonna happen. I think if you pull up that video, the MTV, remember MTV video?
Oh yeah, right.
For that song, and that goes half screen, and then there's Amy on the other half screen dancing with your snakes. Come on,
can I hire you to do this for me?
No, I am not touching a snake, Amy. Sorry, there's not enough real estate I can do to prepare me. Oh my God. Okay. I want to go to the next Come As You Are party with you, Amy, because you are an absolute blast. And I'm just curious now. I need to know. We all need to know a quote. What is a quote that resonates with you? What's your go-to quote?
I'm going to take this from R to PG. And it is from, gosh, where did I get it? The Billionaire Playbook on Instagram. And it says, you ask for growth. Don't be surprised when life challenges the hell out of you. And awesome. That has rang true. Remember, I want this. I want to go to this next level. And, when everything's just falling in and nothing's going right, and you're just like, why? It's just like, you know what? I wanted this. All right, let's do it. Let's figure it out. Because you cannot get to that next level unless you figure this out.
And yeah, growth does not happen without pain. It's why they call it growing pains, folks.
Yes,
So,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
yes. Okay, so folks, that is it for me today. This is awesome. I'm, like I said, most original. You get an award. I will not be applying for the Python Bowl at any time, even if it had like a $5 million, kitty to it. No, I can't bowl, so a Python bowl would be so out of my. Guys, this is just follow Amy. You're in for a treat. Super, super fun gal. Super fun gal. Amy, thank you so much for sharing your time out in the middle of the Everglades. I hope you do find the anaconda. And I look forward to watching all the new stuff that you bring out by honoring the life that you're actually having to take in order to preserve, the ecosystem, right? So, folks, that's it for me today. If you find that your resiliency is lagging just a little bit, be sure to listen and lean into our resilient community. Oh, and check out resilientgift.com. Get your monthly magazine. You never know. Amy may be featured in one. So, again, thank you all so much for sharing your time. Amy, thank you for sharing your beautiful smile.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
this was awesome. Until next time, I'm Kim Hayden, your host here at Kim Talks Resilience.